Patrick, tell us about Dmitry.
Well, he's an extraordinary bear of a man. I think if you meet him for the first time, the first thing that strikes you is that his enormous grin. Also, that and the fact that he's normally late. But second to that is he's just outstandingly brave. And I don't know about you. When I meet brave people, they don't say they're brave because they do stuff that is brave. And in his case, we started filming with him last year. And we were filming in Riga, Latvia. And Zelensky in Ukraine had just said, well, Dima is one of the very few people in Russia who is telling the truth. At which point, I and everyone around Muratov said, you can't go back to Russia. It's just insanely risky. And he didn't even answer, or I was so annoyed with us, or he didn't answer for a bit. And then he said, I'm just going, end of argument. And off he went. And he's gone back, I think, to my knowledge, 4 times. And every time it's incredibly risky. And every time my heart has been in my mouth as I watch him go. And if you want to know the risks he runs, he decided that he should do something positive about the war. And that's positive as in not pro it. And he lives in Moscow. And so he announced that he was going to auction off his Nobel Peace Prize medal. And within 4 days, I think it was, somewhere between 4 days and a week, he's traveling home to see his mum on the train. Train door bangs open, and a guy in a mask stands in front of him, hurls red paint all over him.
Wow.
Inside the red paint is acid. And he, I think, has lost about 25% of his eyesight. And that was obviously the Russian government sending a message, which was shut up and cancel your auction.
But he didn't heed that message.
Oh, of course not. That's Dima. And that's the guy. And again, it was almost, it wasn't even a question for him. He just said to me, no, of course I'm going ahead with it, as though I'd said something insanely stupid. And goes ahead with it. And he raised $103 million for Ukrainian and other refugees. And it's a world record. And I don't think it's a record that's going to be beaten anytime soon. And that's a sort of the measure of the guy that you're dealing with. And like I said, if you've met brave people, they don't shout about it. They just do it.
Well, it doesn't get any braver than running an independent newspaper in Putin's Russia.
No, it doesn't. I mean, as I said, as you said in your intro, he's had 6 of his staff killed in horrible ways, shot, poisoned, strangled. I mean, barbaric ways in quite a lot of the times. And that is indicative of the risk that people run. I mean, I've since discovered that calling your documentary The Price of Truth is what everyone who makes a film about the media does. But actually, it's a really good reminder that in the West, we tend to think, I don't know, the price of truth is, I don't know, name any gobby journalist that you like to think of. I was even about to say the name of Piers Morgan, your stablemate on Times TV. But actually, the price of truth is people like Dima and his staff risking their lives to keep some form of critical freedom alive. And he would argue, and I think I have to say, having spent a year this last year filming with him, that freedom is the only thing that stands between a society and autocracy. Because if nobody's saying what the hell is going on, then nobody is going to stop you, if you're the leader of that country, doing exactly what you like.
And Patrick, what was that process like, spending so much time with him? I mean, there are points where you feared for your safety and your ability to do your work, following someone around who has such a big target on his head?
If I'm honest, no, because not in my case. The people who made the film with me, we were constantly aware of the risks that they, and to a much lesser extent, I might be running. My feeling, and oddly, I share this with Dima, is if they're going to get you, they're going to get you. They'll find you wherever you are. And his attitude is, look, I'm going to take the risk that I deem sensible. And so far, he's managed to stay alive and stay just the right side of the divide and stay at liberty. And so to that extent, whatever risks we and I were running were so far, it was so much less than those that he was running that I just thought it was relatively trivial. That said, all the people who were funding us were insistent that we do the most rigorous security process I have ever known to go through every time we went for a shoot. And my poor producer had to fill in a 50-page Bible of
Wow.
exactly what we were doing, moment by moment by moment by moment, with call signs and whatever. And we were also, I mean, I think the main thing we feared was our rushes, which is the day-to-day filming stuff, falling into the wrong hands in advance of transmission.
Sort of being
And there we
hacked or
had to,
something like that.
yeah, exactly, hacked or abused, because, like I said, press freedom isn't a laughing matter in Russia. And at the moment, Dima is running a campaign on behalf of the Wall Street Journal guy who's been arrested. And that case shows exactly the risks of doing the wrong thing or having your stuff fall into the wrong hands. And so that, at least, we were incredibly careful about.